right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Tonight, drug overload. Why marijuana and fentanyl are piling up in city storage.
From near record high temperatures midweek to wind chills in the teens Saturday morning. But will there be any moisture when the cold air gets here?
But first, the final push in the race to become Missouri's new senator.
The ability for women to choose the health care that she needs is important.
In general, I think these issues should be left up to the states.
The key issues creating stark contrast between Trudy Busch Valentine and Eric Schmitt. We are now just 8 hours away from the polls opening in both Missouri and Illinois for a crucial midterm election. Good evening. I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Ann Allred. Within the last 90 minutes, Republican Eric Schmitt just wrapped up his final campaign rally. Our political editor, Mark Maxwell, caught up with both Schmitt and his Democratic challenger, Trudy Busch Valentine, tonight. Mark?
Ann and Mike, good evening. Republicans rallied voters to ride a red wave election and register their displeasure with President Biden and inflation. Democrats pointed to a spike in voter registration and strong early vote totals to suggest maybe pollsters missed a hidden surge after that Dobbs decision on abortion. But one big thing missing in this race between Trudy Busch Valentine and Eric Schmitt was a debate. They're going to the Senate after all, so we wanted our voters to hear back to back from both candidates in their own words on some of the issues most important to voters.
She's the most liberal candidate the Democrats have ever put forth in the Senate.
I am not socialist. President Biden is not socialist either. We're going to try to get down the cost of basic necessities. We're also going to try to lower the cost of gas, and that's because we have to come down on these big companies that are making so much money.
How do you come down on those companies?
We'll just start talking. We'll see what we can do.
We've never seen an administration more hostile to energy exploration and production than we see right now. You put that on top of the trillions and trillions of dollars we're spending at the federal government that we don't have. That's why everything's more expensive.
I know that's what the Republicans have been trying to do for years. They want to defund Social Security. They wanted to fund Medicare. They think there's not enough money in the budget for it.
Can you confirm that you will do nothing to raise the retirement age or cut Social Security benefits? She said you would do that.
I don't know where she got that from. I've never said that. That's not my position.
Can you confirm what?
I think I just did. So I don't know where she got that from, but I'm not supportive of any of that legislation.
You've seen the polls. What's your path to victory? How can you pull it off?
Because who knows? Look, we've had a 627% increase in voter registration since Roe versus Wade. I think that's going to be a big thing.
Support for a nationwide abortion ban that you would come out?
I'd be happy to look at it. I'm not going to answer any hypotheticals about what legislation looks like before I get there. But, you know, in general, I think these issues should be left up to the states.
Senator Josh Hawley is not on the ballot tomorrow. He was at that rally tonight. They would be, if he predicted that Eric Schmitt would win and become the next senator. If so, they would be back-to-back candidates to catapult from the office of Attorney General to the U.S. Senate. Eric Schmitt said tonight they'd be the best 1-2 punch in the Senate, and both of them have something else in common. They would not support Mitch McConnell if Republicans take control of the Senate. Live downtown, Mark Maxwell, 5 on your side.
We've already seen long lines at the polls. Today was the last day for absentee voting. Election officials say they're seeing turnout comparable to presidential election years.
As part of our mission to stand up for St. Louis, we ask you to vote tomorrow. The polls in Missouri will be open tomorrow from 6 a.m. until 7 p.m. Need a valid photo ID. That includes a current Missouri driver or non-driver's license, passport, or military ID. If your driver's license expired after November 3rd, 2020, you can still use it. If you do not have your ID, you can cast a provisional ballot and return before the polls close to show your ID. In Illinois, the polls will close at 7 p.m. They open at 6 a.m. No voter ID is required if you're already registered at your current address. If you have not registered to vote, Illinois allows you to register at your polling place on Election Day. You will need 2 forms of ID showing your address.
Before you cast your ballot, our voter guide can help you learn about the candidates and issues in both Missouri and Illinois. Just text the word GUIDE to 314-425-5355 and we'll send you a link. And join us tomorrow night for expanded results and analysis analysis. Our coverage will begin as soon as the polls close at 7 p.m. on our app 5 Plus and on KSDK.com. And then, of course, stick around for an expanded edition of 5 on Your Side at 10. Well, the weather can play a role on voter turnout on Election Day.
So what can you expect as you wait outside of your polling place? Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell is here with your Weather First Election Day forecast.
You know, no big weather systems headed towards St. Louis at this point, but some clouds are definitely rolling overhead. They'll still be with us most of tomorrow. Sunshine's going to be quite limited. And, you know, there's a small chance we could get a spritz or two, but can't imagine much more than a little sprinkle here or there. So your Election Day forecast, mainly mostly cloudy, but above average temperatures will start out in the 40s in the morning, back to 63 or so around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And when the polls close at 7 o'clock, 59 degrees. As we look ahead, your weather headlines are mild through Thursday, and then it's dramatically colder Friday. The weekend will feel more like January. That plus the winter weather outlook coming up in about 12 minutes, Mike.
All right, Scott, thanks. Tonight, we're learning more about 3 family members shot in Belleville over the weekend. One of them, a mother of 2, was killed. Just hours ago, family members spoke with our Robert Townsend.
It just shattered our family.
Christina McLean and her loved ones are experiencing the worst time of their lives. On Saturday morning, McLean's niece, Trisha Kane, a 43-year-old mother of 2, was shot and killed.
Trisha was literally the kindest human you'll ever meet. She had the biggest heart.
Trisha's 35-year-old sister, Samantha Burton, suffered 2 gunshot wounds to her head.
They're very happy with the prospect of her recovery.
And Samantha's 15-year-old daughter, Kira, was shot twice in her face.
We don't know if after all of this, if she'll be able to see. I've never known life without her. I can't lose both of them.
Investigators say Samantha Burton's boyfriend, Markeith Wright, shot her, her daughter, and her sister during an argument. Relatives say Wright and Burton were in a relationship for more than 10 years. The shootings happened at Burton's home in Belleville.
She was giving him the time and space he needed to find a new place to live, and he just wasn't accepting of that and did something that, you know, has changed our lives forever. We loved this person. He was in our family. We cared about him.
Hours after the shootings, police arrested Wright in Iowa. Prosecutors charged him with first-degree murder, attempted murder, and aggravated battery. In the midst of all of their pain, the family vows they will fight for their loved ones.
We're going to seek justice. I will be there, and I will be too.
Robert Townsend, 5 on Your Side.
Tonight, Wright remains in jail on a $1.5 million bond.
New tonight, the I-team has learned drug evidence isn't the only thing backing up at the St. Louis Police Department. 3 months ago, Interim Chief Mike Sachs sent a letter to the Circuit Attorney's Office stating the department is facing critical storage issues with unclaimed property. The letter claims Kim Gardner's office has not approved an unclaimed property purge since 2018. A judge ruled today drug evidence from nearly 7,000 cases could be destroyed to make the police crime lab a safe place to work again. The city's attorney said there were health concerns over an abundance of marijuana and fentanyl piling up on shelves.
You know, what am I supposed to tell the crime lab about how they're supposed to do their jobs on a day-to-day basis? Because you guys have delayed since 2021. I mean, I haven't heard any reasonable explanation why there was no response from that time until now.
The order to destroy that evidence will be carried out by the police department. They won't say when that will happen due to security risks.
Today marks 2 weeks since a deadly shooting at Central Visual and Performing Arts High School. And tonight, we know when students will finally resume classes. The district announced virtual learning will begin next Monday. An announcement on when students will return to the building is expected before the Thanksgiving holiday. Students at Collegiate School of Medicine and Bioscience will begin virtual learning on Wednesday. The school shares the building with Central VPA. They'll return to the building next Monday.
Tonight, the city of Wentzville is celebrating its new multi-million-dollar recreation center. Our Laura Barczewski was at tonight's grand opening for the center that was years in the making. Laura.
And the mayor says the new Wentzville Rec Center is more than 94,000 square feet, and he hopes it's a place where everyone can come together. The city of Wentzville has now grown a little bit more with the grand opening of a new rec center. Mayor Nick Guccione says it's something residents felt like their city was lacking.
It's about the health welfare of their community and keeping people healthy, giving them activities in the winter where the kids can come out. It's going to be a build of memories, long-lasting memories for the kids and families where they can enjoy amenities of the community, along with other parks.
With 2 pools, a large gym, and fitness center, the Wentzville Parks and Recreation Director says there's something for all ages, even those who want to get creative.
We have the esports lab, which is, again, gaming and computer programming type classes. On the other side, we have an innovation zone, which is everything from robotics classes to drawing classes, arts classes, all that kind of stuff will be a part of that.
The mayor says they had $42 million to build it and even came in under budget with room to grow.
If you go out and look at kind of an overhead of this facility, you'll notice some spaces to the east and even to the west where we have the ability to push out and add additional components in the future.
Residents say they're really excited to have this as part of their community.
We have a lot going on. We got a lot of parks in the area. We have, and we have Progress, and I thought Progress Park was a nice facility, but this here actually is much larger and many more, machines and facility-wise, much larger.
The new Wentzville Rec Center is located just off Wentzville Parkway and will be open to everyone tomorrow morning. Residents and non-residents are able to buy passes. Mike.
Laura, thanks. Well, tonight a record-breaking jackpot is up for grabs. The Powerball prize has grown to an estimated $1.9 billion.
But this is hard to believe. Breaking news: due to technical difficulties, tonight's drawing has been delayed. We'll bring you those winning numbers as soon as we get them.
No phone zone. The voting law is still on the books in Missouri and Illinois with the threat of jail time.
We get a taste of winter temperatures this weekend. But what about December, January, and February? Your weather first. Winter Outlook is straight ahead.
Well, tomorrow is the midterm elections, and tonight, with control of Congress up for grabs, the sprint to the finish line is underway. Former President Trump stumped in Ohio for U.S. Senate candidate J.D. Vance. He urged people to vote Republican to, quote, save the American dream. President Biden spoke at a campaign rally in Maryland, claiming democracy is on the ballot.
We know in our bones that our democracy is at risk, and we know that this is your moment to defend it, preserve it, protect it, choose it. And I want you to know, we'll meet this moment.
And if you want to stop the destruction of our country and save the American dream, then tomorrow you must vote Republican in a giant red wave that we've all been hearing about.
A new NBC News poll shows Democrats have an uphill climb, with Americans dissatisfied with the economy.
By this time tomorrow night, we may not know the results of some of the big national races. Our Verified team looks into why some vote counts take longer. Here's Casey Decker.
It's called Election Day, not Election Week. So how come we don't get some results for days? It's because elections are run state by state, county by county. Some offices might have more staff or counting machines or fewer ballots. They also have different rules, like if mail-in ballots arrive early, some states count them in advance. Some start the morning of Election Day and others wait until the polls close. States also have different deadlines for when exactly mail-in ballots are due and when the results have to be finalized. So it's normal if some results take longer. That's how those states assure every vote is counted.
Our Verified team is asked all the time, can I take a selfie with my completed ballot? The answer in both Missouri and Illinois, no. Missouri law prohibits voters from allowing others to see their ballots. It's considered a Class 4 election offense, punishable up to 1 year in jail and a fine of up to $2,500. In Illinois, it's considered a felony with a potential 3-year prison sentence. But state election officials have long said it is unlikely anyone would be prosecuted for a ballot selfie. What would you like for us to verify? Send an email, verify@ksdk.com.
With temperatures in the 60s and 70s this week, it's hard to think about snow and freezing temperatures. But the freezing temperatures, snow and ice will be here soon enough. Weather First Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell has your winter weather outlook.
The cooler than average weather late in September into early October brought the fall foliage out early. With the dry conditions for much of the late summer and early fall, the leaves drop sooner this year. Even as warm fall weather continues into November, we know changes are coming. The Pacific Ocean holds some clues to the larger climate patterns that drive our seasonal weather. Water temperatures are still below average over the equatorial Pacific. La Niña lingers for the third winter in a row.
Only had 2 other such instances since 1950.
While we may get an idea of trends for December, January, and February, the specifics are more elusive.
The day-to-day is going to vary a lot as we go through. When we look at these winter outlooks, we can't take them for daily forecasts. They are a trend over the entire season.
As it shoves the jet stream farther north, limiting how much cold air we see. Overall, we do expect a slightly warmer winter than average. However, there will be occasional outbreaks of Arctic air. It all hinges around the polar vortex delivering the cold air to our area. During the winter of 2021, December and January were relatively mild. Then the polar vortex unleashed brutal cold for February that spread all the way to Texas. The power grid failed across much of Texas, leaving millions of people in the cold and dark. Our temperatures dropped below zero during that cold snap. Indications are our coldest weather will wait until mid-January into early February.
There's a lot that's still on the table. I will say that we've seen a trend in the past 30 years where our Decembers and Januaries have actually warmed up in comparison to previous years, and we've seen February get significantly colder.
What about rain, snow, and ice? Near or above average precipitation is expected, but we must have the cold air available and a favorable storm track for us to get a good snow.
Our heavy snowfall is happening more often in February than it has in prior years.
That will tie in with the coldest part of our winter. We've had just over a foot of snow for the last 2 winters, below average. Don't discount the possibility of an impactful winter storm, especially during January into February. But our snow chances look limited again this winter. And if the wavy jet pattern dips to our west, we may also have to keep a severe weather eye out for any volatile weather patterns. As we saw last December, severe weather, including tornadoes, can and does occur during the cold season. And that is definitely something, of course, that we will keep our eyes open for, but we don't see any trends towards that at the moment. Now, here's the official forecast from the Climate Prediction Center for December, January, and February. Warmer than average in the southwest along the Gulf Coast up the east coast, colder than average to our north and west. Climate Prediction Center says equal odds for the bi-state area, or at least most of it. We think temperatures are going to be about average, maybe slightly above. Now, when we look at the precipitation, the better chance off to the east of St. Louis into the Ohio Valley. This is a little farther east than it was last winter. Again, the odds favor us having less than average or about average precipitation, but not very far off your typical values that you normally would see. Yeah, we'll see. Winter, it's going to feel like it by the end of the week, that's for sure. We have clouds out there tonight. These clouds spreading in, probably going to limit our ability to see the lunar eclipse that happens tomorrow morning just around 5 o'clock. 51 right now. We are overcast. Winds out of the east-northeast at 8. Made it up to 61 degrees today. Should be just slightly warmer tomorrow. Low to mid 40s heading out the door tomorrow. And then again, for Election Day, there might be a spritz or two early in the morning, but there's not going to be much in the way of rain. There also won't be much in the way of snow. Quick check on the tropics because hurricane season is going to run through November for sure this year. Nicole, it's kind of a hybrid storm, but it could become a hurricane as it trudges towards Florida by middle of the week, Wednesday into Thursday. Meanwhile, the jet stream taking a huge dip out west, a lot of energy there, and look at the snowpack. It is on the ground across much of Canada, a little above average, which gives credence and lends itself to us getting a colder outbreak for this weekend. So near record highs on Wednesday in the upper 70s. By Saturday, we're lucky to get to 40 degrees for the high. Here we are late Thursday. Think we'll have a tropical storm, Nicole, down around Tampa or somewhere in Florida. Here's the front coming across the bi-state region. Slides through Thursday night, early Friday morning. Cold air starts coming in here. Temperatures will drop on Friday through the 40s with a gusty breeze. We head into Saturday, and while we think it'll be mostly sunny for St. Louis, north of town, there could be some extra clouds. We're all going to be cold and gusty on Saturday. Look at your wind chills. Early on Saturday morning, wind chills from 10 to 20 degrees. That's what it'll feel like. You're going to need to find the winter gear this weekend, especially if you're going to spend any time outside. Here is your weather first. 10-day forecast. We are talking warmth through Thursday, and then it's nothing but chilly temperatures and feeling like January for the weekend ahead.
All right, Scott, thanks. Frank is here with sports.
Well, Mike, we have highlights of every team in action tonight. Blues, Tigers, Billikens, and the Illini. And most of the news is good. Keyword, most. We'll be right back. When you are sick, you go to a doctor to get well. When you are struggling in the NHL, you don't go to Boston to play the Bruins, who are undefeated at home. Look, the Blues gave it a great effort, but in the end, it's 7 losses in a row. 1-0 Bruins in the second, and this is a beauty. Torrey Krug, Braden Shen, Jordan Kyrou, and back to Shen, and we are tied at 1. Third period, Ryan O'Reilly will go to the penalty box, and the Bruins make them pay. Brad Marchand, Patrice Bergeron, it's 2-1 Boston. A nice moment late, if there can be one in a loss. Trent Frederick, the pride of DeSmet High School, gets the goal against the team he grew up loving. Bruins win it 3-1. While it may be a long winter for the Blues, I doubt that will be the case for the basketball Billikens. They opened up tonight against Murray State. Granted, Murray is not Michigan, but SLU looked awfully solid. Travis Ford was as intense as usual. Best stat of the day, Yori Collins, 14 assists, 0 turnovers. Javante Perkins came out firing. He had 21. The Mizzou transfer, Javon Pickett, came as advertised. He scrapped his way to 13 points and 13 rebounds. How about St. Mary's to East St. Louis? Collins to Hargrove. Billikens win 91-68. Talk to us, Travis.
You saw glimpses, just glimpses of how good we think we can be or hope we can be, just glimpses of it. Not 40 minutes of it, probably not even 30 minutes of it. When your point guard has 14 assists and no turnovers, probably good things are going to happen.
Mizzou fans couldn't believe what they just saw. Kobe Brown versus Southern Indiana, and he will throw it down. This was impressive. The student section was packed. Haven't seen that much lately. This is kind of impressive, too. Noah Carter. He will rock it back and throw it down. Dennis Gates wisely scheduled a little softer to begin the season. It is a brand new team. This was Southern Indiana's first game as a D1 school, and they played them close. Kobe Brown had 20. Mizzou escapes 97-91. Brad Underwood and the Illini opened up against Eastern Illinois. He loves his new athletes. Here's one of them, Terrence Shannon Jr. Wow, left hand. The transfer from Texas Tech can shoot it too. He had 24 points tonight. Watch him curl and knock it down. Illinois always has these left-handed shooters. Sincere Harris will knock it down. Illinois wins it 87-57.
And St. Louis.
That was the scene at 3 o'clock today. The SLU women's soccer team got the invite to the NCAA tourney. They will host Memphis next Saturday at 1. They are the number 2 seed in their region. They lead the country in scoring and have won a nation-leading 18 in a row.
I've been here 5 years, and obviously we've worked our way up our mountain here. And I've never would have dreamed to be a 2 seed, but like we've worked for it, we've climbed. I mean, we are a gritty team, and we deserve it.
Yeah, I think we feel really good about our team, about our draw, and of course, it's the first time we've gotten to feel that we get to be home, and so that's a unique feeling.
It would be so awesome to see that team get to the Final Four.
All right, thanks, Frank.
Hey, that's for horses, not for Siri. The big change coming to Apple's virtual assistant.
Well, Apple is working on an update to its virtual assistant Siri. It will allow you to just say Siri instead of Hey Siri to ask a question. The move will catch Apple up with Amazon, which only requires users to say Alexa to wake up their devices.
Donuts for Democracy. Krispy Kreme is offering Americans an incentive to vote. You can get a free original glazed donut tomorrow. No purchase necessary, and you don't even have to show proof you voted.
All right, we have some breaking news surrounding tonight's record Powerball jackpot. An estimated $1.9 billion is up for grabs at old brother.
Yes, the numbers were supposed to be drawn at the top of the hour, but that did not happen because of an unexplained technical error. The drawing will be posted later to Powerball's website, we don't know when, and Powerball's YouTube channel.
Boy, they're going to be talking about this tomorrow, especially for whoever does win, if someone finally does.
Yeah, when has this ever happened?
Not that I can recall. There you have it, 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
Jimmy's guests tonight, Ryan Reynolds and Jen Psaki. Start your day with Today in St. Louis, beginning at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow.